Hello, everybody. Hi. Welcome to a brand new Torchbearer role-playing game show. Keep on the Borderlands. I'm Eric Vulgaris on the internet. I'll be your host this evening or morning, really early for our European friends, and and as well as Game Master. But you're not here to see me. You're here to see these four amazing gentlemen partake and try to survive one of the oldest, most famous adventures of Dungeons and Dragons fame, the Keep on the Borderlands. So let's just go around the clock here, and so start in our top left. Let's start with you, Virgil. Hi, welcome. How are you doing?
Thanks so much for having me. I'm doing well, and I'm really excited to play because I've never played this adventure, and I've not played this game yet, and I've not played with these beautiful people, other than yourself, Eric. Exploring a new land and a new PC and all this stuff is very exciting.
Excellent. Yes. So you will be our gate. So audience, pay close attention. Virgil will be your gateway into this game, because I think the rest of us are no strangers to this otherwise intense system. So
it's nice to be dipping back into some stuff back in the roots, because I actually haven't been playing for that long, only like 4 years or so.
That's so funny.
It's so funny what we think is a casual gaming, like, only 4 years.
Exactly.
I'm only done like several hundred hours of live stream play, so it's like I'm still pretty.
That's like enough to get a pilot's license, but whatever.
It's enough to get on with you, fine gentlemen, which I'm very excited about.
Yes. Thank you, Virgil. Sean, let's throw it over to you. I know you were trying to get that drink of water, and so I'm trying,
and you're like,
no, you must keep that thirsty condition.
Thanks, damn. It's so close. Yeah. Thanks for having me on the show, Eric. I'm really excited. When you said that you wanted to play a Torchbearer game, I was totally thrilled. And when you said you wanted to do an old school like D&D dungeon crawl adventure, that was super cool. And I've done a lot of them, but I have never done Keep on the Borderlands. I know very, very little about it, but I'm super excited to go in, and I get this chance to catch this thing I missed ages and ages ago. And probably have more fun doing it too. So this is great, and timing is perfect because Big Bad Con just ended, and I was like in a fugue. I was like in the Big Bad fugue for a week, and now I'm like finally like got my energy. And today I was feverishly working on spreadsheets to manage our light and food resources. So
yeah, I saw that. That's amazing.
So
that's excellent.
Somebody's got to do it, otherwise we're gonna die in darkness.
Yeah, or starve.
Yeah. Torchbearer is kind of the opposite of don't starve. It's you're gonna starve.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's how far can this jet go without any fuel?
Right. How far can you go on fumes?
Yes, absolutely. So thank you, Sean. To my right, we have Epidiah. Epi, hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello. Hey. Yeah, welcome. You've played Torchbearer before, right?
I have played Torchbearer.
Yes.
Only recently did I play it, which is a shame because I could have been playing it all along. Yeah. I really enjoy it. I like how Torchbearer makes me care about the petty things in life. Yes. I enjoy a good fantasy about petty things. That's the thing that...
And for those maybe in chat who don't know who you are, how about you tell us real quick who you are, what you do off besides dreaming about the Keep on the Borderlands.
Yeah, well, I'm a calculator enthusiast. Is that what you're referring to, or?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you follow up.
I mean, I will tell you that I do watch calculator unboxing videos on. Oh gosh, what's the channel? There's a math channel. I will.
The number file. I've seen those.
Oh, they're good.
Yeah.
Yes. You're
probably referring to the game design, though, right?
No, I'm talking about your warp factor calculation skills. No, of course. Yeah, tell us what kind of games you have maybe designed.
I designed Dread, which is the most famous. Is the first game that I did with the Jenga. We used Jenga to do a horror role-playing game, but I've done quite a few others, including Swords Without Master, which is in the Sword and Sorcery magazine that I publish, Worlds Without Master. I I should have a much better patter and spiel about what I do, but I do not. If you go to dig1000holes.com, you'll find most of my stuff.
Yes.
It's good to just keep doing it.
Eric, you
and
can just play the animation we prepared. You
Oh,
have
yeah.
the animation.
let me just boot up the primo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Epidaya. And
No, thank
last
you.
but certainly not least, Sage Latour has joined us. Hi. Hello, Sage.
Hi.
Hey. What do you do outside of the Keep on the Borderlands that people might know you by or from?
Yeah, I co-designed Dungeon World, which is a role-playing game you might have heard of. And since Ebby mentioned Swords Without Master, I should mention the game Sage Fight, which is subtitled Masters Without Sword. That was a side game a long time ago. But yeah, mostly for Dungeon World, and then I have any number of other designs that I always say I'll get back to, but my real life has been taking over more and more time. So yeah, mostly Dungeon World, which for one big credit to my name isn't a bad one to have.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, that's awesome. Great. So is that your lucky charm?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have a copy closer than I do. I still haven't set up this office, so I'm looking around trying to figure out where my copy is.
I have a game coming up for the first time in a long time. Playing some
Nice.
Dungeon World. I'm stoked.
I had a lot of people during my day job actually just ask me to run a game of Dungeon World for them. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh yes, the award-winning tabletop role-playing game Dungeon World.
Yeah, I always tap on that part. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see my copy. It's right over there, but I can't grab it. It's too far away. But I would totally represent.
We'll Photoshop it in post.
Yeah, we'll Photoshop exactly. So kudos. Yeah, YouTube gets a treat. Awesome, great. So yes, this is our cast today. We're doing a 4-shot of the Keep on the Borderlands, the B2 module from way back in the day, Dungeons and Dragons. And we're all playing characters. We've already pre-created a couple months ago, and we're going to get ready to explain to us who we've chosen, why you have some art on the screen, and what that could represent. As you can see, I've decided to go really hard into the Darkest Dungeon style for this game at the last second. I went through several iterations of different ideas, including like a gauntlet style, like early 90s, late 80s arcade looking game with 16 or bit graphics, but I feel like Darkest Dungeon is probably the better touchstone for this, so that's what we chose.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. And so shout out to Ratasaurus on Twitter. I linked him in chat there. They're the one here's my artist who did all of this fine work for us. So thank you for that. And the music you heard on break was from Drummer Boy, Andrew, my good friend. And if you ever watched several prominent streams, roleplay, they do a lot of work with them. So it's awesome, and he has a Patreon out. So if you want a good, easy way, if you're interested in streaming and you want a good, easy way to get a lot of music to use on your streams, definitely hit up their Patreon at patreon.com/drummerboy. So awesome. So enough about the shillin', and let's get to the killin'. So let's talk about the. It's gonna be all night like that, Sage. It's gonna be all night. Right.
I'm just upset that I didn't get to it first. I mean,
yes. So let's go over and talk about our characters, and then I will introduce the premise for the game, sort of like what we cut in on. We'll write our characters' goals, and then we'll play. All right, chat. So that's sort of our itinerary today. So let's get to it. So Virgil, since we're going back around the circle, how about you begin? How about you tell us about your character?
Yeah, I'm playing an elven character today, named Cadence Serenadolin. Comes from a very musical family and just social structure as well. And yeah, I'm the type of person that's heard about adventures in dungeons and stuff. And upon hearing how dangerous they were, I was very sure that these people were just not very intelligent, probably, or just not being careful, probably. And all that treasure is pretty much just there for the taking. The very exciting times. So, with my incredible powers of not a whole lot of things, and my curious nature, I set out to poke about hither and thither in crevasses and canyons.
Yeah, I mean, what you're already one of the first creatures of the world, right? How much more equipped do you need to be?
Yeah, I've seen
as an elf.
seen it all, probably.
Yeah.
So well prepared.
I mean, that forest was, I'm sure, going to totally prepare you
seen
for
red squirrels, gray squirrels, flying squirrels,
black squirrels.
All the types of squirrels.
If we run into squirrels,
you're prepared.
I'm ready.
Squirrel wise.
Yes. And and I think about this is a Burning Wheel HQ game, so I won't ask you to tell us what all your stats and all those things are. We'll see that in play. However, I think the things that we should talk about and share are what our beliefs and instincts are for the starting moment here. So Cadence, you get to set the rhythm.
All right. Well, my belief is that treasure isn't worth losing lives. Being a foolhardy adventurer is a great way to not gain awesome treasures and a great way to gain death. So I'm always kind of thinking first, is the risk and the reward in the proper balance? I need a low risk and a heavy reward.
Perfect.
We'll see how
Yeah. Good luck with that one.
Yeah.
My instinct is to take a step back.
Okay.
Which is to say, like, if I hear something or see something, I always try to back up and get like a nice wide view of what's going on.
So when we write instincts, it's typically at best advised to write them as almost like a computer would interpret them, as in when in this situation, always or never, or if this then that. So where do you see this
surprised
happening?
Is
when
good,
surprised,
is a good trigger for that.
More like if I don't know what's going on, I take a step back.
Yeah.
Right. Which would be the same thing in like as well for like his conversational stuff.
Right. Yeah. When surprised, recoil from danger. Right. Instead of plunging yourself headlong into it.
Who's our foolhardy character?
Right.
We'll get to that.
Well, I'm pretty sure we have a few of those. So I'm,
Yeah. Right. Cool.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Virgil. All right, let's keep this train going over. And Sean, tell us about Bryn.
Sure. Yeah, I'm playing Bryn Stormcaller. During 30 years ago, when Duke Stefan came with his armies to attack, invaded this land, the Stormcallers, along with a lot of other people, sided with the Duke, and they were promised riches and land and a say in the new government, because we were ruled by necromancers before. It wasn't like it was a great gig before Stefan came along, but promised all these things, and at the end of the war, of course, the king gave us none of them, and in fact told us to retreat into the mountains and be gone out of his new land. And Bryn, young at the time, protested and thought it was unjust and unfair. She was young and righteous, and that ended her a long stint in the dungeons beneath the barony, and now out and older and certainly more jaded, Bryn is on parole, and part of her civic duty is to go remove the pests. She's been sent to clear out the pestersome monsters in the keep. So she is technically fulfilling her parole status by going into this place. Of
work
which
release program.
Yes, it's our work release program, of which she gives few. What's our swearing policy?
You're being tithed.
What's our policy about words and appropriateness on your show, Eric? Can I swear?
Yes,
I'm pretty sure we can swear.
Right.
I think there's a little warning that says, "Look out for badasses on this stream."
Look out,
because now it's gonna get good.
Because Bryn doesn't give a fuck,
yeah.
and actually intentionally is going. If she was a good dwarf, if she was a really good dwarf, and she honored her grudge against the king, then she would have continued to fight. But she's more jaded, and she wants to, instead of making one big bold stroke and going out, tear the kingdom apart a little bit from the inside. So she's hoping to find friends in here. She's hoping to figure out ways to go back home and fuck with the kingdom at large. Whether that will work, who knows? But she's excited to be with like-minded individuals that I think none of us are real big loyalists to this shitty old king we have.
Yeah, especially when someone reneges on their promises, and it's not always a good spot. Right?
I think he's like the 45th too. I mean, he's just a terrible guy. It's
bad. Absolutely. Cool. Keep going around. Epadiah, how about you tell us about your character?
Oh, so I'm playing Basil. He is a young old man. He's young in body and old in spirit, who's been kicked out of the church because of his belief that the gods speak through the people before they speak through his own, or the gods speak through the people before they speak through the priests. I am definitely a common preacher. I want to get down and dirty with the common folk rather than deal with the aristocracy and those that are otherwise chosen for good fortune by the gods. Are we doing instincts right now? I'm sorry, I missed that part because
I missed mine.
Yeah, we missed yours too. Yeah. All right. Well, that's fine. Let's keep going with Basil, and then we'll cut back.
Sure. Well, Basil's all about the domestic and emotional labor. So I'm going to make him. His instinct is whenever we make camp, I make sure it feels like home. Does that work,
homie?
Yeah.
You want something a little more specific? I can do something like.
What do you think that means when you make camp?
Comfortable, right?
Okay.
I mean,
I was thinking like a stuffed squirrel to keep me like
right. Yeah. Like
content.
What action would you take to make us comfortable? Would you like secure shelter? Would you cook a meal? Would you
scavenge a bowl of potpourri?
So I don't know. I don't believe I'm the one who would be cooking a meal. I mean, I'm certainly willing to try, but I thought we had somebody who was better equipped for that. I think I would be the one who would set out the table setting with the with the forks in the right place and just make sure everybody has a nice soft patch of ground to sleep on. Everything I can to make it feel homey, but not the actual cooking, I think. I mean, to get really blatant about it, I have a high survivalist skill.
Yeah.
So I want to carve.
So back at home, I would normally get like sung to sleep by my mom, but you're not going that.
I would do that. I would absolutely do that. You would not enjoy it, but I would do it.
I love the idea of you like, okay, so teach me this Elvish song your mother sang. It cannot be spoken by human tongue. Yeah. I'll try it.
Just hum the bars.
Yes.
I get it.
Totally. So I'm willing to let that slide for now. Like I feel like that's I think that's pretty reasonable in the way you described it. And if it gets out of hand, Sage will be the one who tells us when it's out of hand.
Oh no!
Yes.
Oh no! Don't put me on that spot.
Well,
yeah.
Well,
no.
Instincts often take a little figuring out in the moment till you kind of narrow them down and get them.
Absolutely right. So I'm cool with what you've described so far. That's awesome. So let's jump back and talk about Bryn's beliefs and instincts.
Bryn's belief is kings are liars and thieves. The law masks their greed and calls it providence. I will tear apart this facade from inside. And her instinct is always appraise craftsmanship when first encountered. Bryn loves well-made things and likes to comment on things that are well-made, and will probably also comment somewhat, but less, on things that are not well-made. She's not a big nagger. That's not her. She's not into tearing things down. She really likes to find the things that are well done. When she can
yes, that awesome. Perfect. Great. And then Sage, tell us about your character.
Yeah. So my character is Linus Laster. He is a human mage. He's on the younger side. He's technically still an apprentice, but the rest of his wizarding school class went off on some planner field trip and kind of forgot about him. Nobody seems to really like him all that much. He's kind of a weird guy. He's well-meaning, but he just kind of he doesn't know how to get along with anybody. And so he's kind of odd. He's inspired more or less by a character from Parks and Recreation, Orin. That's kind of how I imagine him looking, and the art is pretty spot on there. He's kind of the weird guy in the corner who is totally well-intentioned, but totally weird. So he has a belief, if I can help everyone enough, I can find some real friends. He just wants to find where he belongs, and he's going to do everything he can to help out and do his part with the couple of spells that he actually knows to find his place in the world. And he thinks that, if he can do his part, maybe he'll find somebody who really gets along with him and respects him, and some real friends, not like his friends from school who forgot about him.
Yes.
And for instinct, I was going to go with something like, if someone asks for help, volunteer. Like, he's always the first one that if somebody is like, oh, could you help me with that? He's just like, yeah, of course. And he doesn't really think it through. Awesome. Definitely both a good thing and a bad thing.
Cool. Excellent. That's super good. So yeah, that is our party of 4. Where you got Home Alone. Yes.
Yeah, you got Home Alone. That's exactly it.
I love that none of our characters have like, I will pillage this place for all it's worth. Like, we are the least greedy group. That's not going to be well.
Somebody
for
with
us.
like an anti-greed, like the lives are more important than money.
Yeah.
You may be in the wrong profession.
Yeah.
Adventuring. Yeah.
No, he might just need a taste of reality.
Yeah. Beliefs can change.
Yeah, you grew up on the romanticized stories of those who crawl through muck and mire, wielding spear and sword.
I'm not aware that there's like actually a horrible stench to the mucks and the mires and stuff yet. I'm gonna find all this out.
Right.
Yes. Perfect. Cool. So then, I guess I will describe where we're at and where we're going. But before we do that, I need you all to roll a 1d20 for me, and this is our rumors and what you have maybe heard about this place. And if you roll the same number, then you heard the same rumor. Cool. One more.
Sorry, I'm remembering how to roll here.
Yeah.
Slash
roll.
R. Yeah.
Or slash R. Yeah.
Perfect. Cool. So cadence. Altars. So cadence. Your rumor is that altars are very dangerous. Bryn, your rumor is that tribes of different creatures live in different caves. Basil, piles of magic armor are hoarded in the southern caves. And then Sage, there is more than one tribe of orcs within the caves. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So those are the rumors that you have all heard as we begin this adventure. So you've counted your provisions and you have set off from adventure up to the northern sides of the barony the Grand Duchy of Karamikos. You have ventured far north and west into the foothills, past the estates of Pengalion, and further and further into the Borderlands, as it's called. At the eponymous name, yes. You have been journeying for some days as the woods grow thick and heavy around you, as you search for signs that lead you to this fabled place of adventure and fortune called the Caves of Chaos. Little is known other than these rumors that you've had, for no one alive has made it back from these places. You have you know you're on the right track as you slowly see that the woods grow less and less verdant and more dark, and you can even I think Cadence probably spots it first, where there's a little bit of weird oozing on the barks of some of these birch trees. Wait, that's not oozing, that's some sort of dried blood. And
people aren't careful around here. Terrible adventurers.
You see that
run
the
right
blood,
into this tree, I reckon.
The blood is not scattered randomly. It is scattered in an 8-figured cross of a circle with a north, south, east, west, southwest, northwest symbol on these trees. We hear the howling of or hooting of owls, and even though it's dusk, it seems to get a little bit darker in these parts of the woods here. You are no doubt getting closer to the Caves of Chaos.
So the blood like markings on these trees, are they indicating one of those directions in particular, or are they just like?
Do they just look like a seal?
Right. No, it's a seal.
Okay,
I'm
more
sorry.
of a seal.
It's a
than, like...
symbol. Yes, it's a symbol in that shape. I use that because I don't know what you call the orthogonal symbol. It's
sure. I just want to make sure that we weren't like missing a direction. Like, hey.
Oh
You didn't pay attention. Oh yeah, you guys missed the Caves of Chaos.
You should have turned. You should have turned right when you got to Albuquerque.
I have literally played a classic D&D adventure where we never found the dungeon with Luke Crane and Tor, who wrote this game. So yeah,
yes.
I just want to make sure that we don't like take a wrong turn and miss the caves entirely.
We have 4 weeks to play. Let's spend the first 3 of them trying to find the dungeon.
Yes, thank you. You finally get the game now. Totally. Okay, so the gist here is that yes, this is a significant symbol, and you're on the right track, but you haven't found this place yet, right?
Okay.
So let me bring us over to the game screen so we can see what's going on. We're going to need to write up our goals for the session today, and I think everyone here who might be watching at home and being a little bit confused of what we're seeing here today, why there's different people holding up strength symbols over everyone. So let me show you guys the key. This game uses things called statuses for characters, right? And this is being fresh. I'm not going to get into the details of what each of these things do. We'll cross what the statuses do when those bridges, the status bridges, when we come to them. You don't have to roll when you cross those bridges, so that's okay. But the gist here is that these are the statuses that you can quickly kind of see and mark of where we're going to be and what the status of each character, because this game doesn't have hit points. We have statuses instead. Up here at the top, we have what's called the grind. You can think of this in terms of if this was not exactly the light source of the game, because there are totally games. Don't get fresh with me, Keeters. Oh god. Oh, you all make the same joke. Oh, sorry. Yes. So there's a grind here. When it counts down, we all gain one of these conditions. We all get hurt and wear and tear. Once again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time getting into the specifics with you all right now, because we only have a little bit of time to play for 4 sessions. But we will explain things as they need to. Once again, we'll rely on Virgil as your gateway to things.
Gateway to ignorance,
yes.
I call it.
But anyways, that's sort of the gist here. So yeah, we have the grind clock up top. We have the 4 of us, and I just put us in one particular order. We can change that as we need to. But for the most part, that's where we're at. And hopefully I bought also enough time for us to think of what our goals are going to be. No?
I don't have to go first, do I? I'm last.
No.
That's how we've been doing this.
I would say the person who has, if you already have a goal written, how about you volunteer to go first and buy yourself time for your comrades?
Sure. Real quick, give us the 20-second pitch on the keep, or is what we know about the keep just the rumors that we've heard? Is that right. The kind of things that we know going in?
Okay. So not the keep, the caves.
The caves.
This is the only adventure known that the name of the adventure is not where you actually explore.
Awesome.
Editorial.
We're going into the caves of chaos.
Yeah,
but
you're
going
going
it's like
into the
near
caves
there.
Chaos. Yes.
Yeah.
And the keep of Borderlands, that's the last bastion of civilization that the waves of chaos break upon its shores.
Right? I have a goal. I will find. I'll find or I will make. I will make friends with one of the tribes in the caves.
Okay, that's a great goal.
Friends. One of the tribes. We know that there's multiple, and hopefully one of them will also feel similarly about the duchy and its leader.
Maybe we have to cross this bridge when we come to it, but would you being food for one of the tribes count as being a friend for them?
No, I mean a friend. I have goblin wise. If there's goblins in there, I can talk to them.
Right. Okay. I'm just wondering.
Yeah. No. I mean, hey, there's conflict stuff. There are convinced conflicts, my friend.
Yes.
And yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I'm trying to make allies. Actually, it's more important than friends. That's like allies that will stand with each other. Well,
Okay.
Make out.
I have an inkling for a goal, but I want to like run it by everyone. I want to make my goal to ensure at least one of us survives. Is that too?
That's a totally fair goal. Yeah.
All right.
That's like one out of the
that
book. I
seems
think.
legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm fairly sure I'm going to survive. There's no reason not to think I will. So my goal is to leave with more than I went in with.
Cool.
I don't want to come in there, burn a bunch of lamp oil, eat a bunch of rations, and then leave with nothing.
I'm gonna go ahead and be a little straightforward, I think, and just go with like the wizarding thing of I want to learn something important about the caves. Like we're going in there pretty close to blind, and as far as I can tell, I'm pretty close to the brains of the operation, which is bad news for y'all. But yeah, I want to learn something about what's going on here. Like learn something important about the caves. Maybe is that specific enough? We think.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Learn something new.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and say important because like I can trivially learn something new about the caves once we find them, but like I want it to matter.
Yes. Yeah, something significant about the Caves of Chaos. Yes.
Sure.
Maybe you can find out why, even though it has nice alliteration, they didn't use it for the title of the campaign.
Okay. Is that everyone? I think it's everyone, right?
Yeah, I have notes for everyone.
Cadence, what was your goal one more time?
I want to leave with more than I came in with. This is like
in terms of treasure or in terms of friendship.
In terms of treasure.
Isn't friendship the real treasure?
Maybe, but I doubt it. I think there's real treasure. Friends are great, but we can all get all of this great stuff.
Money also buys friends.
This is like I've invested some money, which is kind of a new thing for me, but I'm very excited about it.
Yes.
Invested some of the money that I had in lamp oil and a grappling hook. I've heard they're very useful. Maybe someone has a rope that I could tie it to if we're in a cave. I'll find out when we're there. But yeah, this is an investment, so I want to leave with more than I came in with.
Cool.
Leave with more stuff. How about that?
Yeah. Cool.
More stuff. There you go. That's concrete.
Yeah. Cool. And great. That's
I brought a large sack with me.
You plan to fill that sack up.
Yeah. Cool. And as we begin here, in these dark, spooky caves, you can see I drew the symbol on the tree right here in front of you.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
So the light is getting dim in these woods.
How dim are we talking?
As it does.
Is that a request for light sources?
Yeah, there's
it seems like the day is...
There's a light shading protecting us from the sun.
Yeah.
With,
seems
natural
like
leaf cover.
The day is calling it early and retiring.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So we probably need to think about
replace with a gloomier, more night manager.
Well,
also, should we talk about somebody maybe doing the mapping for this?
We should probably have a leader and a mapper.
Yeah. I have cartography. I'm happy to map.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
I would generally say the lap mapper should not be the leader. So, dodge that bullet.
I don't think Linus is much of the leading type.
Yeah.
No, I think Basil's our leader.
Really?
I tend to like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Well then, follow me.
Let's rephrase it this way. Who would have let us all out here? Who would have been like, hey, I heard about this place. I know Bryn has to go out here. Like, this is her parole. So she could have, but I think that she would have been much more likely to hook up with someone else who was already going there because she knew it was a death sentence to go on her own, rather than. So would it be possible that Basil or
perhaps
Cadence maybe would have?
Yeah. Basil, I think you would also know, not necessarily a rumor, it's pretty eponymous with the names such as Caves of Chaos, that it could be something of a religious thing that, hey,
Right.
This is
Some
not...
sort of misunderstood religion that needs...
Yeah. I mean, that's a very politic way of putting it.
Yeah. No, I could definitely hook into Basil, like, wanting to go there as a... just the idea that nobody is returned is sinking it into his head now. He's like, well, then, let's prove that the reason why nobody has returned is because they just kept sending these highfalutin royal noble knights and whatnot, and not... I haven't been paying attention to who actually has been going.
Yeah. If I'm half as capable as I told him I was, that's still physically impossible. So
yeah.
you just bet on that.
I like... Full Link in chat mentions how, so I'm sure one of you mentioned who wants to be the leader in character, and then everyone stepped back and Basil wasn't paying attention.
Right. I go down to tie my shoe.
Right.
And,
You fashion it. Yeah. You
Lead the way.
Well, definitely. Then I'm going to...
I already got to use my instinct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm going to be the worst leader. I'm going to light my lantern right now.
Yes.
And I say, follow me, dear ones.
Cool. So you strike up a match. You light the oil of your lantern. And you proceed to follow, trying to follow along wherever this symbol was going.
I'm in the front.
Yeah. So my question for you, are you going to be trying to follow a trail of these symbols? Do you think this is going to be sort of like your waypoints to this cave? Do you think what are you looking for to get here? To find these caves in this place? Because these trees are getting more gnarly and twisted, right? Their trunks are misshapen. Moss is growing on all sides. There's, there might be some animal tracks. It depends. Like, you can't tell. Maybe just what would live in this part of the woods, right? So, what do you think? What do you think you do?
Well, I will absolutely defer to Bryn and ask. Were you given some path, some directions?
Yeah, Bryn walks up to Bryn, kind of nods, and assuming you kind of provide light for it, walks up to one of these compass roses on the trees, and attempting to discern, how recently it was put here, and whether or not there are actually directions to particular caves. She says, she sort of leans over her shoulder and says, the jailer's orders, and like this is when she like lifts up her hand. You see there's like she still wears her manacle. There's just like the chain has been broken, but there's like a little bit of it hanging. She says the jailer's orders were simply to exterminate the pests. I'm sure they have no idea what's actually here, but these signs do seem to indicate something. And I would like to see if I can. I don't know if this is a praising craftsmanship. I don't think it's really falling under her instinct, but I do want to see if I can suss out whether or not these arrows are actually pointing to caves, because we know the caves in the south are supposed to have supposed to have arms in them, or magical armor or something like that. So
that is the rumor that I heard. I do not trust in rumors, but that is what I heard.
Right. And so, that there's multiple tribes, so we'll try to see if this compass rose sheds any more information if we inspect it closer. Right.
Cool. So I think this is going to be our first test of the evening, for you to decipher this, right? And so my question for you is, what exactly? What's your specific question you want to know?
I'd like to figure out if we can, because we know there's a lot of caves. We know that there's different tribes of species. Mm-hmm. I want to find out if there's any way to learn to be intelligent about which one we go into. I would like to look for a group of caves that has a creature that speaks goblinoid, which I think would be goblins and bugbears and hobgoblins and gnolls and those kind of things. So if there's any indication of goblin symbols that Uzia, my many-year bunkmate, would have shared with me, then that seems like at least walking in knowing what we're looking for. So I'm gonna see if I can discern any information from this.
Yeah,
samples there.
cool. So would you say that you're scouting around, or are you hunting for them?
I think I'm scouting. I think I'm like looking at the at the symbols and like seeing where they point and trying to figure out like, okay, those look, which marking indicates, so we get a sense of.
I'm curious about because I haven't played this. I did play a little bit of Mouse Guard, but can I use another skill to try to assist? Like for instance, could I use Lore Master to try to remember an elven song about markings on trees, to see if we can like narrow it down a little bit?
You can help with other skills, but it's very specific. Usually, like the GM's like, cool, other people can help with.
Yeah.
And
so
then
if I have like
a skill
the same or similar,
I have actually an attachment, a handout in Roll20 called Skills and Helpers for relevant helpers.
Oh, there it is.
But furthermore, it doesn't list as applicable wises, and it sounds like you're trying to help with an applicable wise, which is totally possible. Just like Mouse Guard, Torchbearer behaves the exact same way. But what does that look like fictionally? So like before I say yes, you can do that. How are you helping Bryn with remembering these songs, right? Or I think you have Elven Lore, right? Well, wise, right?
I have Human Art Wise and I have Elven Craft Wise. I don't actually have a Lore Wise. I just have a Lore skill, Lore Master.
Okay.
So it would be like singing a song, about like markings in the wood and having him try to interpret them based on which ones he's been observing,
right,
and whether these are warning. Like I have a song where someone finds all these marks and then there's a terrible calamity, or they find all these marks and then there's a glade of unicorns. Like I'd like to see where
that's one of these. We just pick the right one and we get the glade of unicorns.
I think
unicorn poop.
I don't think that's a role to recall that. You know that if you're looking for that these signs of goblins and the dark speech of chaos only lead to ruin and despair. That's a very, very common thread of elven lore.
Okay. So yeah, I would just say, well, I agree. Yes, go scared about. These are definitely leading us in the right direction of someone's horrible demise.
Yeah. Well, if demise and no survivors of adventures is the path you're looking for, then yes, your stories are telling you that you are that these signs are your Polaris.
Nice.
Right.
So okay, excellent.
So it sounds to me like Cadence is in fact helping with giving me a helping die with Lore Master. Is that correct? Yes.
It's applicable help. It just it's not a test on its own to set it up or anything like that. Cool. So that's those two. Should I? So it sounds like we're pretty much locked in for the scout test, right?
Yeah, I think if this is more about scouting than like lore and stuff, there's not a whole lot I can do on it. Like Linus is very much like looking at the symbol and trying to pick out any arcane meaning, but if it involves like walking around, that's out of his area of expertise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and so just in general, scouting can usually be helped with Pathfinder and Hunter. That's typically the skills.
Right.
Not my areas of expertise. No.
No.
But cool. I'm allowing your stories to suffice there for this one, for this part. But okay, cool. I don't think that's the case. So for you, for Bryn, this is an obstacle 3. I know how
a delicious frozen obstacle.
Okay, yes. Awesome. So Bryn has 2 in Scout. She's fresh, so she gets +1 die for being fresh. Yeah. She's getting a helping die. And I have 2 traits. One is born of earth and stone. Bryn is a dwarf, and she's tied to the land. She's tied to the earth itself. The other one is jaded, I think jaded could come up later, and that she wouldn't trust things. But in this case, I don't feel like she is overly skeptical that like something might be lying to her, like setting up for like a trap. Just yet, because it's all like it's like horror this way, horror that way, horror this way. It's not like magical unicorns that way. You know, if that was the case, she would be really suspicious. So I don't think either of her traits apply. So I'm gonna roll 4 dice at ob3. Let's see how that goes. I'm testing Scout.
Should be fine.
I have 2.
I'm sure this will be reasonable. I
have
mean,
2. The GM's ob is 3.
just look towards advancement.
Look at that! Ooh, and 2 6s
Nailed
too.
it.
Whoa.
Cool. Let me advance the grind by 1.
All right.
We didn't speak
Always
about it.
believed in you.
We didn't speak about it, but obviously I think the light Basil was helping you shine the light as you guys were stumbling through.
Oh, right.
The woods,
I mean,
right?
I always bring the light.
Yes.
I'm marking a past scout test
Right.
as well.
So you
I think I'm holding a torch.
you march through these woods, and you think you see large owls, kind of like with large eyes, just kind of watching you as the overhang of these gloomy woods seem to go, and then you see that some of these owls take flight, and they were not owls; they are giant bats that ignore you, but take off in a small little squadron and fly up above the canopies. Seem to not really worry that much about you, but that's okay, because
I just don't like being ignored, but I'll let it go.
I mean,
I'll let it go.
Yeah.
I'm personally worried that there's equal-sized mosquitoes somewhere to feed them.
And so you guys continue walking through, right? The forest keeps getting more and more dense and gloomier. It just seems to get just enclosingly, almost claustrophobically gloomy. You have to hack your way through spider webs at a specific particular point, and you see poisonous, sickly spiders that get gnashed away with the successful hunting test, scout test to make it through, and then finally, right. These thick twisted tree trunks, these writhing roots of these nasty birch trees and stuff like that, right? They seem to finally give way, and this growth, this strange gloomy oddities have given way and gives rise to a ravine-like area, right? So imagine sort of half of a stadium looking style approach, right? And you're near the base of these hills, right?
This area looks protected.
Right, and each side of you, it rises hundreds of feet, right? Maybe like 200 or so, like 150 I don't know, something that high. Just eyeballing it, right? Dark shrieked rock mingled with earth. There's clumps of trees scattered around as well. Also, these trees do not look healthy at all. A sickly smell is in the air. A very, very, some kind of cooking can be smelt. That gives rise, and I think your light just barely can reach sort of like a darker recesses of these hills. You see that there are. It looks at least to your own eyes, it appears to be some entrances in these hills that have been either natural or unnaturally made in different circumstances. You see that they dot and pepper both sides of these caves here. One of them, it appears that some over to the north. Let me look at the map just to make sure. Yeah. So it looks like you see from your side, you look closest to you, there are some entrances to the south, but then you also kind of spot there seems to be something going on to the north as well. Right.
Is that where the smells are coming from? Is the north as well?
You can't tell where the smells. It just seems to be in the air, right? This rather not good cooking, right? not good. You can't put your finger on. You've never. I don't think you've ever smelled this meal before.
That's a bad bake.
Yeah. So Linus says something about like I think the only guidance we really have is about the caves to the south. I mean, might as well start there. If everybody agrees.
I'm inclined to believe my wizened friend here.
Yeah, and when we very first arrived, Cadence said this place looks protected, and Bryn kind of like looks like sort of grimaces, and she says, "Or it's everything's out in the open, so everything is visible. So any creatures lurking inside have an easy shot at those who approach. I agree. We should go to claves of the closest to the south, but we should tread carefully along the forest line so as to not reveal ourselves too early.
All right, sneaky. Sounds good.
Totally.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a really good call. Okay.
Well then, if we are to do that, would it be more advantageous to shutter the lantern?
Yeah, and go in the dark, or
I mean, do we at least have like starlight or moonlight or something, or how dark?
Yeah, now that the trees
Yeah.
have opened up, do we have any light above?
I don't know. There was
Yeah.
poisonous spiders and everything. Interestingly enough, delicious and edible, but highly poisonous.
the moon's light almost recoils in this area, leaving only dim twilight blanketing the entire space. So yeah, you have dim light.
Well, that's probably our best option. I'm guessing dim light makes it harder for them to see us,
Yep.
and not the hardest for us to walk without breaking a leg.
Yeah, totally.
Are you guys down with that?
I'm good with that.
Then I will shutter. I will extinguish the lantern with a.
Yeah. Cool. And you guys slowly approach the caves to the south, correct?
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
So who's...
Now,
Yep.
well, one of the things that I was looking for originally, I'm very happy with the with scouting that got us here safely. But when I was looking at those symbols, did any of them indicate? Were any of them indicative at all of particular tribes? Like, do we have a sense of what tribes might be in what caves from those symbols, or were they sort of beyond what we could tell from that? Sort of wondering what we're gonna walk into in the south.
How would Bryn know the names for different tribes?
She would definitely recognize any goblin text or words. Like, it would be like, that's not goblin and that is, and that's
Right.
about as much as she would know.
Okay. Then it's very difficult to tell what these symbols are. Bryn's with goblin wise is definitely, it's within your ken to know that, hey, this is obviously the marking of the symbol of this one of this group. You see that there is a rather crooked teeth grin that shows up a lot on different markings.
I can't imagine they have very good handwriting.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
Goblins.
it's physically biting trees is how they mark it. So like
Gnawing a nice
shoe marks.
pattern.
Yeah, not a nice pattern, and that is the symbol for this tribe that you know, Bryn. But you don't know what they're. Yeah. Right.
Okay, so that's the symbol I know, but I'm not seeing that here. Or
No,
that's the symbol.
that's the symbol you're seeing, but you don't know what the name, you never interacted with this tribe before, right?
Right. Okay.
You don't know what this family
Alright.
is like,
It's
what
the
they're called, but that is
it's
you clearly how they mark their territory.
Awesome. The tree biting tribe. Got it.
Yeah.
Tree biters.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll be on the lookout for those symbols. If we have the opportunity to go into a cave marked with those, cool. If not, then so be it.
Right.
Do we have one of those bitten trees nearby?
Yeah, definitely getting close, right? The you see it in more prominence symbols. Remember that omnidirectional blood symbol, right? You see that rather written in blood. You see it carved into trees, with scratches, in more frequency. In addition, you also see several of these trees that have these bite marks in them. Yeah, in increasing frequency.
I would like to
Especially
to taste
near
one
the-
of those trees.
Taste it.
I mean,
Are you
if
gonna
somebody's
taste like right
Yeah,
where
how-
it was bit? Because I mean, it might be. Is it like blackened or any weird, like where it's been bit away before he puts it in his mouth? We can maybe.
No.
You're like, it's purple and bubbly. You're like, oh, it was.
Oh yeah, no, it's not oozing blood red sap
Okay,
or anything
good,
like that,
good,
right?
good.
No, it just seems. No, you
I am
want to scratch a little
curious
bit off
about
of
other
it, smell
cuisines.
it, taste it.
Yeah, just like yank a bit of bark and suck on
Right.
it a bit. See what
Yeah,
it's like.
you peel off a piece of maple bark and you chew it a little bit and you realize it's regular old maple bark.
Like I
I've
used
got
to
a
eat at home.
great idea. We can just turn into maple
Mama
syrup
used to
farmers around
bake.
here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Sure.
Actually, there's going to be a
Borderlands
big
maple syrup.
market for maple syrup with all these monsters around here. Maybe we should just go into business.
Hold on. I've got a hammer and spikes. We could spike the tree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put out a
New
pail.
adventure.
Put out a
New
pail.
adventure. Yes.
Yeah,
Is this
defend.
Stardew Caves of Chaos?
Yeah, Stardew Chaos.
So, It's
Yes.
we get like a lemonade
Monsters
stand,
love
but
waffles.
it's our maple stand.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. I think we're ready to move then, right? So we
Yeah.
dimmed out the light. You tasted the bark. It wasn't good. If no one else wants to do anything, then we're going to have the scene of you guys creeping along to the closest cave, the cave with the most frequent bite marks near it.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
That's
Excellent.
what I want.
Great. So then I need you all to make a scout test. One of you needs to lead this because it's dark and there are things around that are hidden. Right.
Awesome. So one of us. I'm just gonna lead, and then everyone else is gonna help, and it's gonna be one scout test. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I think we see what this looks like on screen is something like a like Scooby-Doo, like we see them all like creeping along the shadows. But then of course we see us as an audience members. We would see that there are smaller, shambly-looking figures also doing
Right.
around, who have not encountered each other yet, kind of thing, right? So let's go ahead and make this scout test, right?
So I see that when Sean rolled here, he got a fancy scout test box. Like, how do I get that kind of magic?
Yeah.
You click
Oh yeah.
dice, I
yeah.
test my scout.
Sage,
Yeah.
there is a macro that
Okay.
that should be enabled for you. It's under the collection button next to the gear in the top right. If you see that there, it should say dice. There's a checkbox there that says in bar. And if you do that, it brings it to the bottom left of your screen, so you don't have to keep jimmying over there.
That's convenient.
Yep, and it says enter the name of the test. Enter those
okay.
things. All right, cool. But
We get a +1 for being fresh.
yes, you do.
And
We do,
for
yeah.
help traits.
So
and stuff.
which of us wants to lead in this action? Who's gonna like basically literally be the first person?
Oh
in the
no,
line?
you just asked for a
Right.
volunteer.
And it's optional
Yeah,
3.
I volunteer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
So that's
you
great.
guys sniffed out your lanterns to be stealthy, so I feel like I need to ask this question too, right? Are you carrying your packs along too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we care quite as much about noise as
Being
Visibility.
seen?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay. That's fair.
There's sounds in
Okay.
the night. Yeah.
Right. Well then.
3 is the ob.
Not
No,
sure.
I've not said what the ob is.
Yeah.
It's just one person making the test, though, right?
Uh-oh.
The rest of us
But
just
we can
give
all
helping
help,
dice.
and
But
we
it's a
all
group.
should
Yeah,
help.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
you better help.
And we
because I
have
don't
to describe
Scout.
how we help.
Yeah.
What's your what Scout's based on health or will? I forget.
It's based on health, I think.
Health. So what's your
The handout tells you. Scout will.
Will.
Oh, whoa, it's will. Okay,
Nice.
never mind.
Hey, that is
Forgive me.
much better for me. I have a will of 6.
Nice.
So we can each add helping dice, and then after the help, it'll be halved because it's beginner's luck. So,
Right.
and then you can add traits after the halving.
And
Just fun times.
if we don't have Scout, we can still add helping dice?
Yep. If someone is not skilled, you can help. If someone's testing with an attribute, you can help just with that attribute. So
Got it.
the good part of the person scouting with the skill means that they have like a better pool, but the good part of using beginner's luck is that everybody can always help because
Right.
if someone's just like doesn't know what they're doing, then anyone else can be helpful as well.
We can all just give pointers. Really useless.
No,
like
not
overly
useless.
confident pointers that we haven't earned.
Yeah.
Um,
Steady as she goes.
yeah. Bryn, like when Oren's sort of popping his head up and looking around, Bryn tugs gently at his coat, and indicates to crouch down low beneath some of the tree line, which for her is not difficult because she is much shorter than Oren, and also like points her crossbow in the direction of like where she thinks she sees some shadows that look kind of like maybe they're creatures moving. She's not sure, but she tries to like help Oren steer clear of those and keep a low profile. That's how.
Oren,
that's how
like
helping.
when
think
he's tugged down, just kind of like gives her this like blank look at first, like really intense, and then kind of like real. Oh yeah.
I think you all, as you are stealthily going around, I think you start hearing the sounds of the like pecks of a woodpecker, right? Like clunk, clunk into wood.
Or the teeth of goblins.
Who knows, right? Totally. So, are you ready?
Is that coming
This
from
is this will be a
Outside,
versus
like
test.
outside
Yeah.
area?
Right. So like as we're pulling up our dice, I'm obligated to tell you what the obstacle is, so that this is a versus test, and you're going against a troop. And I feel like if we're playing in real life, you would know the amount of dice I'm rolling. So I feel like I should tell you that.
I think it's fair. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, before Sage determines whether or not he wants to spend a trait or
Exactly.
spend persona, not that we have any, he should know what at least, if not the odd, what the dice is going.
Yep. I'm checking 6 dice at this.
Oof. Okay, so I have
We
a
got
will of
this.
6. I'm getting 1 helping dice that brings me to 7, but then halved for beginner's luck. So
No, we can all help. No reason.
I'm saying that I'm trying
right.
to point that we should help because right now that the 1 dice that I've gotten so far basically just
I have
disappears.
scout. I have scout 4. So.
And dim light is a factor, right? So you will be reducing your successes by 1.
Okay.
And
but so will you.
and your backpacks are also a factor about being surprised, right?
Backpacks are a factor in dungeoneering and fighter, but I don't think they're a factor. I mean, unless they're
To be stealthy, Sean. I mean, you got pots and pans rattling around.
okay.
All right,
Cool.
And these goblins are particularly perceptive, I think.
So wait, you're saying we get a -1 to this because of light? Because it seems like if anything that's helping us, that it is less light.
It's not for you, not for what you're up against. They have a special thing that.
Oh,
Unfortunately.
stupid special things.
Yeah, I mean we're all adults, and I have no problem being a little meta and say that they have a special where they can see in the dark.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But
Okay, so we're getting -1
That's
for light,
why.
-1 for packs.
I am evil. I'm
I'm at-
a little bit of an evil person.
I'm only at 7 dice so far. This is the kind of thing where we really all got to
yeah.
work together.
So what it's worth,
I think
I'm horrible at rolling on roll 20. Horrible. Horrible.
Well, that's good.
So you're fine. I got Luke Crane style luck, so don't worry.
we will test that. To help, I'm going to use my shield, and I am going to be just gently moving branches out of the way for the whole group to pass by, so we're not all like pushing the same branch and thwacking back on each other, and trying to.
So you're holding the way open, kind of.
Yeah, and also it breaks up the silhouettes a little bit, so we can from certain directions.
Yeah. All you see is the low twisted branch and not the people shuffling around, right? Because that shield is kind of it's a wall too. Yeah. Perfect.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, and
a
I'm
good
just
idea.
trying to like brush sticks out of the way of everyone, so like no one breaks any and makes loud noises.
Okay.
Okay.
So with help from everyone, I'm up to 9 dice, but then halved. And I believe the rule is round down on beginner's luck.
You round up on beginner's luck.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
There's one.
Okay, so that's 5 dice, and then I'm gonna go ahead. I think this applies. Let me know if I'm stretching here, but I have thoughtful as a 2nd level trait, so I can get 1 dice per roll. And I actually think that being thoughtful here probably helps because we're not moving very fast, but I'm totally just kind of like walking a little ways and doing this thing.
Check.
like-
You're taking your time. You're looking around. You're examining. Absolutely.
Yeah, like I'm worried that what I'm describing is more cautious than thoughtful, but I think it's not so much that he's like worried about being caught. He just like is really taking his time and thinking about what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm up to 6 dice total.
And
that
plus
is
1
not
for
bad.
fresh.
And plus 1 for fresh. Thank you. I always forget that.
Yeah.
7 dice. Okay, we are not as badly in trouble as I might have thought. And sorry, before I roll this, I just want to jump back to something that Virgil said, because he pointed out that he actually has a higher scout, but I feel like this is the playing to instincts thing. Like I wrote my silly instinct about always stepping up if somebody asks for help, and I'm going to stick with that. Like,
yeah, no, and that's also playing to the game, right? That's what Torchbearer says, is when someone says they do it, it doesn't matter if someone has a better skill, they're doing it, right?
Yeah,
I like that.
So yeah, sorry, Virgil, for
No, I
messing
like
with our
that.
chances.
I mean, in my D&D game, I can't stop tackling people at a +0 athletics.
Yeah.
Okay,
definitely.
cool. I've got all my dice in here. I'm gonna roll them.
All right, I'm ready to roll too. So
Oh,
3.
actually, sorry. I have to re-step through this because I thought that I had to just total up all my dice and put it into this, but it actually asks me for helps and stuff later. So
yeah. I'm sorry. I should have mentioned that. Oh, I'm sorry.
no
It's a
problem.
good step.
I am just learning how to use this crazy tool. Okay, Scout. Do I have to take care of beginner's luck here, or is it going to ask me later, like, are you using beginner's luck?
I think you have to do all the math and then
I think you have to do the math yourself.
the second one. Right?
So Groverbomb mentions that in the second printing of Torchbearer, level 2 traits are twice per session now. But I know that was a change in Mouse Guard. Is that true for Torchbearer? Do we want to do that, or are we cool with leaving it as all session? I mean, we only have 4 sessions anyway. I don't feel like it's going to be that.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to come up much.
But and we only play for 3 hours, so like I don't know.
I'm fine either way. I have apparently the 25th book signed, so like I'm nowhere near second edition.
You know what?
Yeah,
I think the rule is you play with the oldest book in your group.
That is true.
We're gonna.
I like that rule.
That is true. Okay, but thank you. Yeah, I trust Grover. Grover has been a lifelong fan as well. Probably loves Burnwell HQ as much as all of us do. So
and I will have to give Luke and Tor a lot of shit about that, because I knew they had like some minor updates. Like this seems like a significant update. To me.
If you're playing for 6 hours rather than 3, make it.
Yeah. Anyway, like I'm fine with adapting it, and that's no problem. Okay, so I'm going to assume that it's going to make me do all the math, so I'm going to go ahead and put in my skill as 3 because that's half my will, and then help. I get like 3 dice, but halved, but rounded up. So I'm going to say 2.
Yeah, but you also need to add in the 1 for fresh and the 1 for your trait, because
fresh and trait
both
so you should have 4 helpers total, right?
Because it should be 4 total. Sorry, like I'm just figuring out where to enter each number in this.
3 plus 4.
math.
Yeah, I mean, you could type in 7 and then do 0 and ob 1, but that's fine too. All right, I'm ready.
And then it asked me for the ob the GM gave, which I'm just going to put in 0 because we only care about the actual
it's
roll,
independent, right? But
Okay.
but remember the 2 factors against your test. So we tie, unless you want to do something about it because of the 2 factors. Eliminate 2 of your successes, right? That's
nice. You got 6
but
successes.
You have a 6.
But...
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
That was.
Remember? Does that sound right? That's a really, really, really good roll, and I'm really sorry that I ruined it for you in the same way.
I'm somewhat upset by this.
Yeah.
You can give it away and earn checks, which is great.
You can earn,
or you could go to a tiebreaker roll where we won't have the factors. Tiebreaker rolls are straight up. So,
I'm gonna.
Sorry, I think I know what this looks like for a tiebreaker right now before we roll. If that maybe influences something for you or not, or should I just absolve from?
Let me know kind of what's going on, and then we'll
we'll
adapt from there.
Yeah, I think you're being very diligent and careful as you make your way to these caves, and you can see that in order to get to the entrance of this small cave, you can see there's 2 entrances as far as your eyes can tell you from where you are. There's one that's close by that looks naturally made, and there's another one a little bit further down, maybe like 100 yards down, that also kind of looks naturally, but it's a little bit too far away for your eyes to really make it. But you definitely see there's 2 entrances close by, but the one that's closest to you, about 100 yards out away from the cave, right? So going more towards the middle of the dome, you see that you hear several voices. I guess I would say that they're goblinoid because Bryn would know that, but you hear them kind of all muttering, and they're all taking what sounds to be like, "Get off! It's my turn, my turn, my turn!" And they go, and then you hear more of that rhythmic pattering bites of the trees.
See, these are vegetarian goblins. They just like maple. That's why they're hiding the trees.
Do you think?
To me,
yeah. Does this seem like? Yeah. Would that change how you would break a tie? Would that not do anything?
So,
we just go to
I mean, offer them the branch of peace and sweetness. Yeah.
I mean, your thoughtfulness could make you fail by being like sticking around and be like, I wonder what they're saying, and like.
I mean, I don't even have to
pass and a fail check. Is that what you're saying? If you get
so breaking a tie, I don't even have to do it through traits. Like if you break a versus tie in the opponent's favor, you just get 2 checks straight up.
Yep. Well, you have to do it through a trait. It has to be. You have to pick a trait that you're like, because
the trait is what
thoughtful,
breaks it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm thoughtful, I spend too long listening in on what they're saying, and then they see us or something.
This is why you should not rely on me to like be the one figuring out all this stuff.
No problem. But it cannot be thoughtful because you already used that trait advantageously.
And that might actually. Okay, so my other trait is Wizard Sight, which at first I was going to be like, well, there's no way that would do it. But now that I think about it, I could totally see Orin like staring off at the weird magical stuff around here and totally bumbling into them or something like that. But I'm not sure that 2 checks are worth losing our line of surprise here. Because without if we go for the reroll tiebreaker, it's kind of an even shot. Like, I don't know. What does everybody else think?
Those were really, really good rolls. I don't know what's left in the barrel.
It's a good old
random
gambler's
number
fallacy.
generator, but okay. Yeah.
It is actually a really good RNG.
Yeah.
I'm in favor of taking the checks,
yeah.
but you don't have to listen to me just because I'm your wise old leader.
The cooking is definitely coming from this close cave, by the way. Now that you're closer, it's definitely coming. It's coming out of here. In fact, there might even be like a faint light source in the far back of this cave. Like there's activity going on in this cave.
Yeah.
Way too inaudible to know anything about it, but there's definitely something's happening here, and it seems to get even more happening. But we're obviously more focused on what's going on right now in the middle of this place.
I think that we should. I think I'm going to take the checks.
Yes.
Yeah. So because or Linus. Oh geez, Oren. Because Linus is being all thoughtful about this and trying to really like consider. He's looking out for any magical things that also might cause noise or expose us. And because he's doing that, he kind of like forgets to stop looking with Blizzard sight and just walks past kind of the end of the trees into like the area where like into a clearing basically. He exposes himself totally because he's like he still knows he's concealed magically. He just doesn't think about the normal sight.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will take my 2 checks there.
Okay. I think
You also get a failed. So you also get a test on beginner's luck of scout.
Yes. Right. And so yeah, I think what this looks like is just by random luck, you are walking out, and this is not good for you or good for us. We poor Linus. He walks out into the middle of this field, closer. I mean, he's kind of closer to these trees, and you see 4 goblins taking turns taking these bite marks into these trees. And this probably might be the first time you've seen goblins, is it, or not, or
probably yeah. I think he's been somewhat sheltered. Like he's probably read a textbook about them or something. But like it's a wizard textbook, and it's probably like half inaccurate,
right?
At least
it's got some basic anatomy from someone that chopped one in half.
Yeah.
Totally. So it's not necessarily great. And let me grab a picture of one so you can show you just what they exactly want to look like. I had one set up. They're bigger than that, but
To scale,
there's 4 of them. Oops. All hanging out, taking bite marks. But what makes this difficult, and what snaps you out of this sort of like wizard-like trance, is the sounds of the other cave nearby, as another set of goblins seem to march out of the cave and effectively cut you off from the rest of the group.
Oh no.
There are some trees and some bushes that you can scramble to hide in, like kind of, but it's not good cover at all. But now you are split from the rest of the group as this other patrol who haven't noticed you. Seems there's four more goblins show up basically and are clearly leaving this place, going around, and they haven't exactly looked at you, but you can see they're like, wait.
Okay.
What's going on?
So
what do you all do? Right.
Yeah,
So Linus starts wandering off from the rest of the group. You're like, Linus, and then out from the cave, another patrol comes out, getting ready to go. You see they have little like sashes on them, all carrying spears. They look like they're looking for fights and trouble. Just your luck. What do you do?
I mean, so the situation is that we see Linus about to give away at least his position.
Yeah.
And he's cut off from us, but like our fears are that
he hasn't been detected, but he hasn't been detected. Okay,
right.
so behind the curtain, the twist I'm invoking is that
Sure.
reinforcements have arrived and your situation has now become worse. Right?
Yeah.
Like
But we haven't necessarily revealed ourselves.
no one has revealed themselves yet.
Right.
Right? But now it's much more dire.
Yeah. So Bryn like turns to like grabs. She would have grabbed Linus if she could have, but he is already like she grabs Cadence and Basil and like kind of like forces a huddle. Like she pulls them down to her so that like they can whisper really quickly to each other and
hold my shield up over us.
Yeah, and says, "There's a chance that we could make them an offer." And make peace with them, but of course that means exposing ourselves. I'll talk to them, and see if they can be peaceful, but it's a risk. If otherwise, if we try some duplicitousness and we get caught, they're sure to attack.
We could try giving them some food, or maybe.
I have some fresh rations.
All right. I am down with this plan.
Cooking doesn't quite smell so nice. Maybe you could rub it around on the ground a bit.
Yeah.
So from where you guys are, like you can't tell what he's doing, but Oren seems to have an idea. He's not like excited about it. It's not like I got a solution that solves all this perfectly, but like he doesn't look like he's panicking yet.
Cool.
I'm not going to tell you what I'm thinking because you can't hear what he's thinking.
Yep.
But,
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, this is the great part about being separated in Torchbearer is that anything we do works against anything else we do. So
exactly. So in a lot of ways, I made this a lot worse. You might be thinking that, oh, it was really easy on him. No, this is actually worse. So yeah.
Yeah.
But,
all right.
So
I think the smartest thing to do is for Bryn to have a little chat with them.
Yep.
To pour on the charm, the diplomacy.
See what you can do.
Yes, if they do attack, then we could have our other man in the bush as where he is. Sneak attack.
Yeah. I am going to light the lantern.
Yeah.
Because at least then their attention's on us and not Oren alone Linus.
Yeah.
And I'll
so I'm going to do that.
I'll show like my empty hands, you know.
Yeah.
Well, give me a second to like introduce us because I don't want the first thing for them to see is a bunch of humans like fumbling around. Like give me just like one moment to say a thing, and then
give me what's your code phrase?
Yeah. Well,
what are you gonna say? You gonna point at me?
It'll be clear. It'll be clear.
It will be clear. Does Bryn say that? Was that in character?
Yeah.
It will be clear.
Yeah.
Cool. Then how about before what you say, Sean, we're going to go to our break then.
Nice.
And see what that's like because it's 8:30. All right.
Awesome.
So we'll be back in 6 minutes, everyone. Thank you so much. I know it's a little bit slow going, getting things moving and all, but we're coming back for another hour and a half here of more Keep on the Borderlands. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you on the other side. So see you in 6 minutes, everyone.
6 minutes.
Yeah, I feel like I've been playing for 5 minutes. Like it's been going really fast.
Yeah, that was moving fast.